That is right. It is our Sunday gathering time. Welcome, everybody. It's Sunday gathering number 194. Before we start, I'd like to read to you a little poem. In a land of whimsy where creativity reigns, lived Tim, Sandra, and Craig with their colorful brains. Tim was a chef who cooked with a twist, Sandra, a poet who wrote in the mist, and Craig, oh Craig, a juggler so bold who tossed flaming pineapples, or so I've been told. One day they decided to build a machine, a contraption so wild, something that's never been seen. Tim brought the spatulas, Sandra the words, and Craig, of course, brought the mighty swords. Together they tinkered with laughter and glee, creating a marvel for all the world to see. The machine was a sight, a true work of art. With spatulas and swords, it was sure to depart. It cooked up a storm and wrote poetry too, while juggling the flaming pineapples. Quite the to do. The townsfolk were astounded, their jaws on the floor, at the spontaneous marvel these three did explore. In a world so often filled with routine and banality, Tim, Sandra, and Craig were a beacon of originality. Embracing their quirks and their wild, wacky ways, they inspired others to dance to their own craze. So here's to Tim, Sandra, and Craig, and the gathering that is Sunday. May we inspire you to do whatever it takes to have a fun day. Welcome, everybody, to our Sunday gathering. Just a little fun, a little nonsense, a little creativity. Tim, Craig, and I came together to brainstorm what to do on our Sunday gathering. And Craig was filled with ideas like spontaneity and creativity and individuality and originality and all kinds of things that ended in ITY. So the three of us thought, why not just express all of them? Why not? And so this is kind of an anything goes Sunday gathering. And it always seems to me that the spirit world get right on board too, because we are all unique. We are all different. We are all special. And some of the best things come when we don't plan them. So certainly we had to pick some music and some other things as well. But we're going to just see where the spirit moves us. I had an opportunity to interview Dr. Raymond Moody. He's the guy that coined the phrase near-death experience. He wrote a book all about nonsensical thinking and talking and its connection to your divine nature and to the spirit world. Pretty amazing. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how today's going to go. Of course, you heard my interesting poem. Tim will be so kind as to do our opening prayer today. He'll be doing part of the address, the medium demonstration, along with Craig, and joining me with some words for the week. Craig will be doing our closing prayer, also being part of the address and the demonstration of mediumship and the words for the week. I will be leading you into healing. I'll be doing something a little different than a reading today, and part of the address and words for the week, and I will be your DJ behind the scenes. So that's how it goes. Anything goes. Who knows? I got to stop with the rhymes. All right, I'd like to turn it over to Tim for our opening prayer.
Thanks, Sandra. And as somebody pointed out, here's another talent that you've demonstrated for everybody. Yes, or your poetry or something. We should have a limerick Sunday. How about that? That's kind of dangerous, maybe. I don't know. So as we start the gathering today, if you would join us in prayer, and if you feel comfortable to close your eyes, go right ahead and do that. Divine source and guiding light for each of us. We're so appreciative of being able to gather again this Sunday to enjoy each other's company, to enjoy the messages that we may receive, whether they are for somebody else, whether we can get some information for ourselves from what we hear, or whether we walk away with just a good feeling or the sense of the story or a poem touching us in a way that brings us joy, brings us happiness, and that we reflect that towards others like a ripple in a pond, that we start off, we feel good, and we pass that along to others. So may this service be that for all of us, and we look forward to it. Amen.
Thank you so much, Tim. Now, instead of a reading, I want you guys to get familiar with where the chat box is on your screen. And I want you to click like you are going to type something to everyone. This, my friends, is audience participation. And there's a reason we are doing it. So, first thing I'd like you to type in that chat box is where you live. You can put the town, you can put the country, whatever that is for you. And if you're sitting there going, oh, I don't feel like playing along, I think you're going to be missing out on something if you don't. So, friends, put it in that chat box. Get to know your Sunday gatherers. Look at it's like popping like popcorn over here. Ooh. All right. Question number 2. What's your favorite color? Sunday gatherers, what is your favorite color? I'm still dancing in my seat like I'm listening to music. Love the tunes there, Tim. Favorite color? I see them coming in. Yes, we're trying to get some things sparking in your brain, new thoughts, new thinking. All right, next question. What is your favorite food? People are thinking, oh, well, chocolate was the first one to be typed in there. Sugar, common denominator for all foods this time of year. Oh, wonderful. If anybody's watching that chat box, you might be getting hungry or salivating just a little bit. All right. Oh, fudge, yum. It's fun to write. See, now you get to know people, right? All right. Next on the list, how about your favorite drink? And you don't need to be G-rated here. If you want to write a margarita or martini, whatever that may be, you can do it. Water is always available to you in addition to your favorite drink. So know that. Doesn't have to be water. Champagne. Sophia, you're a girl after my own heart. Mad Dog 2020. I saw that go by. That's one of those cheap wines that oh, I don't want to say cheap, but less expensive that I grew up to. A little Mai Tai, I think I would pick for today. All right, I seem to think you're ready for the next question. What is your favorite movie? Favorite movie. If you have two, you can list them both. Don't worry about that. If you can't think of your all-time favorite, think of one that brings you some joy. Babe, I saw that. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Big Lebowski, awesome. Blast from the Past. I don't think I know that one. Forrest Gump, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. It's a Wonderful Life. Yes. A Fish Called Wanda. Haven't seen that in a long time. And now feel free during our Sunday gathering, if you got some things to add to this list, don't worry at all. Okay, next question. What is your favorite singer or musical group? If you can't pick a favorite, maybe a genre of music, maybe you're a country western person. Maybe you're trapped back in the 1980s with me in the disco. All right. Elvis, Jimmy Buffett. Oh, Ramones, Bob Dylan. Look at them go. Look at them go like popcorn. Neil Diamond. I can't, there's no way I can mention as many as fast as they're going. Can you guys feel your brain firing off all the circuitry and neurons? Everything's just active, right? And this is fun because normally you're watching us deliver, and I know you're part of it, but like I really want you to know you are a part of it. We can't do this Sunday gathering without you. You are just as much part of it as we are. Okay, next question. What do you like to do for fun? It could be your hobbies, things that make you smile. Oh, we got some horseback riders. We got some dancers. Oh, a little casino. Now, would that be video poker, slot machines? My mom and I go to the local one here sometimes. Walk in nature. Write poetry, Gary says. Oh, Fran says shopping for diamonds. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. Yes. Great answers, everybody. And you know what? There's no right answer. It's whatever works for you. All right, next. If you were a Disney character, who would you be? May not be a Disney character, but you know what I'm going for. All right, a princess, Mickey Mouse. Sometimes I feel like Winnie the Pooh. Sometimes I feel like Tigger. And sometimes I feel like Eeyore. And it can all be within the same hour. Bambi, Wilma Flintstone, love it. Spirit, haven't seen that one yet. Winnie the Pooh, Janelle's with me. All right, Little Mermaid, Under the Sea. All right, next question. Have you ever met a celebrity? If yes, who? Have you ever met a celebrity? If yes, who? Michael Jackson. Wow. Bruce Willis, B.B. King. Awesome. John Larroquette, Josh Brolin, Mama Cass. My goodness. It's going fast, going fast. I can't read them all. But wow. The stories you guys could tell. I think based on the food, the favorite drink, and these celebrities, we should do just a Zoom meeting and you guys could bring your food and drink and we could tell stories. Some pretty great people. You guys are amazing. All right. We have two questions left. One is, next one. What do you love the most about yourself? What do you love most about yourself? Personality, sense of humor, faith, my empathy for others, clear thinking, kindness, generosity, your entertaining, your personality, compassion, resilience. I'm a good mom. I'm a good listener, generosity. And anyone else who can't think of one, chances are you got a little bit of these things going on as well. Endurance, love that. Perseverance. Pocahontas popped up. Absolutely. Keep them coming. Okay, the last question. Very serious business here. Are you feeling special? And are you ready to embrace that one of a kind, special you that you are? Are you ready to say, self, I love you just the way you are? So you can choose from yes or yes from this one. Yes or yes. Here on our Sunday gathering today, we don't know what's going to happen. We're going to do the address with spontaneity. We have no idea what each other's going to talk about. I don't even think we know what we're going to talk about. We are all special. We are all unique. I have some amaryllis flowers growing throughout the house, and it dawned on me that they were planted, these little bulbs, and they're now blooming into the most magnificent flowers. Each one of us has our own DNA, and we are so hard on ourselves sometimes. But what we don't remember is all these great things that we just typed in the chat box. We are these radiant, beautiful flowers, perfect the way we are, one of a kind, unique. I bet if I were to ask if you would swap and be with someone else, swap lives with someone else, someone might have better looks or more money or smaller waistline or whatever. But when it comes right down to it, I bet you guys would agree you would be just the person you are. So today, embrace your individuality. Thank you for playing along. I could feel all those circuits of the brain firing from all over the world. So thank you. We're going to go into our healing now, and we're going to keep on with the individuality and creativity. There's a song by Coldplay that I've never heard before, but the video is so different that it really took some creative minds to do. So if we can take a moment and think of those who are in need of some healing. I know there's some people, places, things, some people, some critters in our animal kingdom as well. But instead of seeing them not healthy, picture everyone perfect, whole, and complete. And we're going to go into our healing song. And when we get back from our healing song, we are going to hear from our friends Tim and Craig. And keep writing in that chat box if you'd like to also. All right.
Thanks, Sandra. I was watching that and thinking, this is like those dreams, where things kind of make sense and yet they don't at the same time. And the more I watched, I thought, that's not like any dream I've ever had. It just kept on going and going and going. But still, it was exciting. And visually, wow, it was a smorgasbord of food. As Sandra has mentioned, today is a lot of spontaneity, a lot of creativity, maybe a little bit of on the spot sort of stuff. So, what I have to talk about at the beginning, and we all chose what we're going to talk about entirely separate. We'll see how it all fits together. That will be kind of cool. Um, I decided to keep in mind this will be an allegory, and I will call it the Adventure of Winnie. So, who's Winnie? Winnie is my 15-year-old dog. And Winnie, a cute little pup. She's black and white. When she was a cute little pup, she had a nice little pot belly and a kind of bit of a scrunched up face. So, of course, she had to be Winnie because she reminds me of a certain Winston Churchill. Anyway, so Winnie, though, when I have my pets, I like to look at pets that are um, who I feel have a need. They need to have hopefully a good home, and so those are the ones I get drawn to, of course. And Winnie was extremely shy, and I actually at the time her and her sister from the same litter. I went to look at one and ended up with both. Is that always the case? Winnie, though, was the one that was underneath the chair. The little girl brought her out, the little pup, and she went under the chair. She was very shy. She was I think she was happy to be there, but when you look at her, you just felt as if she needed some love. This poor little dog needed some love. Um, so home she came with me, and I was so wanting to be careful and cautious with everything I did with her, and didn't even have a name at that point. Just thought, what a cute little pup. Drove in the driveway, opened up the door, had her in a crate for safety, took her out. The first thing she does is she leaps out of my arms. And she leaps out of my arms into the garden, into the driveway, and I live on a busy street. So of course that's the first thing that crosses my mind. Oh my gosh, after this, it was a 3 hour trip back with this poor puppy and her sister. And again, you can't call her anything because she doesn't have a name yet. So come here, you was her name at that point. She headed over to the neighbor's backyard, and I thought, thank God for that. They weren't there. Closed their back gate, finally cornered her, and her first image of me was this big lumbering guy with arms outstretched going, come here, come here. So that was Winnie. That's where Winnie began. And Winnie's still around. She's 15. I think I mentioned that. In another year, she'll be able to drive. And well, actually, she won't because Winnie now is my blind dog. So when she was about 3, 6, in that 3-year-old time period, she started to lose sight in the one eye. That was absolutely fine. At that point, I had another dog, and she was the boss of the family, and she kept everyone in line. So there was Winnie. She was happy. Like that little Dachshund I had was the one who said, "Okay, now's the time to go out. Okay, now's the time to come back in. Okay, now's the time to eat." Like she just barking, and everyone jumped. She even tried it with me, but that didn't work so far. So Winnie was actually part of Gretel's team, so to speak. She was still able to be shy, meek, and it took weeks to get her from under my own kitchen table just comfortably in her own place. Um, and she was really team member, not so much an individual in her own little way. Um, but you could tell she had a sense of humor. In that breed, part Shih Tzu, part Pug, there's that sense of humor that they have, and that was who she was. Rather than just accidentally do a little snip, she made it a big sprawl. Whenever she went, we have a snowfall here. She went out and not tiptoe through the snow. No, she buried her face in the snow. That is her. That's her individuality. Well, now we have Winnie, 15 years of age. She's now lost sight in both eyes. So she's our blind little dog. Gretel has passed along. And so Winnie amazes me every day. It's amazing that your dogs would inspire you. She still finds a great deal of joy in everything that she does. She heads out on her own. The one thing you don't do with a blind dog is move the furniture, because she knows her way around that house so well that she can go from here to there. She knows who she is. She knows what she's doing. She had to learn how to, on her own, basically. How do you show a dog this, especially one who's stubborn? That's part of her individuality as well. How to work your way outside when you need to go outside, how to go, and I built a little plank for her, where to go down that plank and how to come back. You can't show her because she still gets skittish. You can't go up and touch a blind dog out of the blue. You'd have to kind of make sure she knows you're there. So she's had to discover that whole thing on her own. And in all of this, in her time with me, from that first memory of hers trying to make an escape to now where she's a loving pet. She has her own personality, even from her other sister. And she is inspiring in that she's figured out um, the food, the water, how to get in, how to get out. Whether it's daytime or nighttime makes no difference. Yes, sometimes I have to go out to the garden to rescue her in the middle of the night because she doesn't know how to find her way back. That's rare. And again, you can't sneak up on her. But she's figured out ways of solving each of those issues that she's come up with right from the beginning of being scared. And can I trust this guy? Yeah, I think I can. To, okay, I'm not being able to see what I used to be able to see. Where do I go? To, my companion dog Gretel has, when she passed away, that was the leader of the pack. What do I do now? She stepped forward. She became her person. Her dog, I guess. She became her personality. That's the way to put it. She solved her problems. She had comfort zones that kept on shifting on her. She started to express her individuality and really started to live and become her own personality. So that's why, in my allegory of Winnie, I look at her on days with amazement, quite proud of her. And with that, I pass it on to Mr. Dowling.
Thanks very much, Tim. And I'd just like to say thanks very much for the two of you and for everyone that's here present. You know, it's really nice to get together during the Christmas months as well, to be a bit light in that as well. Um, I'm in an interesting place at the moment because where I am is somewhere between wanting to kind of offer some words of wisdom or advice or something that makes a lot of sense, but at the same time, I think there's a reminder of a saying that was, he who knows does not speak, and he who does not know. So I kind of find myself that I can't for the next 7 minutes just be quiet. But one of one of the things that reminds me of Christmas, I think, is excuse me, I just loosened this, is the experience of family. And I think in a way how important it can be to us during this time. And when I think about Christmas and things that mean Christmas to me or mean connection to me, I constantly refer back to the memories that I've shared with my family and friends. And I don't know what it was about my younger years, but my cousins and my friends and that, we always used to get together quite often. And I'm amazed at the ingenuity, the wit, the creativity of my cousins, especially one in particular, because he was quite a gentleman that was able to, he was the type of guy that knew exactly what button to push with me in order to get a reaction, put it that way. And he was very funny and very charismatic. And on one occasion when I was getting together with my cousins and my friends, I decided we were going to have one of the more humorous times to get together. So we decided we'd have a couple of drinks and we'd share some memories and stories of what we were about to go through. And I think that at some level, being able to share those memories and be present with people is important too, you know. But a couple of hours had passed and we decided to go to bed. And my parents weren't home because they were on holidays. So you can imagine the chaos that could have been caused in that environment. But after a period of about maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleeping, I woke up early. And I thought that at that time it would be funny if I went down before them. And of course, I had invited my cousin into my mum's bedroom to stay because there were only 2 rooms in that house. And of course, I told my cousin that you can't move anything in that room. You have to make sure it's all kept exactly the way my mum had it. And he kept his promise. But the only thing was, when I was downstairs and I thought it was early in the morning, I was having a bowl of cereal. And you'll see why my cousin is very creative and witty and intelligent and very original. Because as I'm staring at my screen on my phone, having my cereal, I notice a reflection in the phone. As I look up at the ceiling, to my amazement, my cousin, true to his word, didn't move anything in the room of my mother's, but he did proceed to place some of her garments sellotape to the roof of the kitchen and the sitting room area where I was. And in my amazement and astonishment, I couldn't comprehend how to actually approach the situation. And I think that that's what makes him so original, is a sense of humor. Because I've told this story a number of times and the humor kind of leaves it every once in a while. And it's never as funny as the first time, but he really is someone that's an inspiration to me during these times as well, do you know? Because he reminds me that it's not so serious either. And that there's a certain kind of a lightness to life. Kind of a, I suppose you'd say, a trickster aspect, you know. I think Sandra mentioned juggling fireballs or pineapples that were on fire. And I think at times around this time of year, it can be just like that. It can be tough. It can be difficult. But I'm not telling anyone to have house parties now and start placing garments everywhere, but just to remember that positive aspect as well and that sense of humor as well. And I might say another thing as well, because that party kind of went on a little bit too long. And I think the next day, having trusted my cousin and him proving himself, he was the kind of guy that was a little bit vain, just a little bit. And he liked to do a lot of weight training. And he was very strong. But anytime he walked by a mirror, he'd have to look in it. And one of the interesting things that happened, I believe, the next night was that I obviously had to establish some routine and boundary with him, right? Because he's just done something really funny. And I go in to check on him because the guys are sniggering in the room. And I say, what the hell is going on in here? And I walk in and there's a mirror in my mum's room. So it makes sense he'd be looking in it. But what I didn't expect was he'd be wearing all of her clothes as he was in it. So he has her hat on, he has her spectacles, and he has her dress on. And I just say, why? Why are you wearing her dress? And he looks at me and he smiles and he goes, "Look how big my muscles are in it. Like, look how big my neck is." And I quit. That's a kind of a short story of the stuff I had to deal with when I was younger, but it's one of the funniest reminders as well. Because whenever we get together, there's always some sort of chaos like that, or spontaneity, should we call it. So, but due to GDPR and all that stuff, I can't actually share that photo, I don't believe. But we might tell the story at some point in the future, maybe next summer, Sandra, who knows? But that's what I have to offer you. So a bit more of a sense of humor and lightness, and remember spontaneity. And I'll hand over to Sandra.
Oh, thank you so much, Craig, and thank you, Tim. Yeah, it's interesting, spontaneity, because it's like, what am I going to talk about? I don't know. Let's just be spontaneous. So I thought maybe I could answer some of the questions I had you guys answer. Like, my favorite color is blue. I know when I was a kid, Winnie the Pooh and Kermit the Frog were, I loved them. Give me anything, Winnie the Pooh and Kermit the Frog, I was all over it. Um, Favorite food? It would have to be the cheesecake or chocolate. Yep. Maybe a glass of wine or a margarita on the drink. I normally drink water, but if I was forced to have something alcoholic, it would be something like that. Celebrities. I have met a lot of celebrities in my career cooking for race car teams. That was my previous career that ended with COVID. I cooked, well, I didn't cook. I made Tom Cruise a tuna fish sandwich at a race when he was just young and he was beginning in those risky business days. I made chicken marsala for Reba McEntire. I did. There were other people that came through our tent, a lot of them under the radar, and I just left them to their own business, just regular people. I can say, though, after having one too many cocktails, that I rushed to the stage to shake Barry Manilow's hand in concert, and also I've shaken the hands of every member of the Village People, again, under the influence years ago. So there is a party girl side of me. Doesn't come out too often anymore because, boy, my playmates just happen to be all over the world. But what I can tell you, when I was a little kid, oh my gosh, the guys talking about play and animals. Oh, I was a girl that just loved to play. I could be lost for hours, just playing with dirt and building things or making a sandcastle, or give me a crayon and there I would be. And there was something as a child that I kept thinking, I never want to grow up. Things are going to be tough when I get older. So I never wanted to go there. But of course, life happens and we all do. And that fear that I felt seemed to come with me along the journey, and it never has left. In fact, if you are someone who's fearless, I think you're one of the rare few that walk this earth. And it wasn't until I watched, it might have been the Evan Almighty movie, when Morgan Freeman played God and he told someone that you never get given these gifts of character, you get opportunities to become them. So I heard that if you're afraid, that's an opportunity to be courageous. And I remember doing a seminar. I'm a seminar junkie. I really am. I've anything about what it is to be human, or something unique. I used to love to go to courses. Now I seem to do them online. But I remember this one course that I did, and we had to all close our eyes, and it was an exercise on fear. And we had to picture that we were afraid of everyone in the room, and then everybody in the town, and everyone in the state, and everyone in the country. And it really just built up this huge feeling of fear. And then they flipped the coin. They said, now I want you to imagine that the people that are sitting on either side of you, they're afraid of you. And everyone in the room is afraid of you, and everyone in the town is afraid of you, and everyone in the city and state and country, they're all afraid of you. So what happened is myself and the other 100 people in the room went from feeling fearful and afraid, and even some people were crying, to all of us laughing our butts off. We were laughing, we were howling, we were screaming, because could you imagine everybody in the world is afraid of you? Well, it gave me a little distinction on this thing called fear. It may be with us in life, but it's, unless it's keeping us from getting hurt physically, I think fear is something that we can be courageous and we can move through. Some wise person told me once that we can't be in action and feeling fear at the same time. We can only give our concentration to one or the other. And I remember practicing that. There was a phone call I didn't want to make. There was somebody I had to deliver some really bad news to, and I was afraid. And then I thought, let me just be 100% present. And when I picked up the phone and I was present to dialing the number, and then when that person answered and I was fully present in their world, the bad news didn't end up being bad news because it was something they were hoping for so that they could move on with their life. We look at other people like we are different, but the truth is we're all the same. We may look a little different, but inside we all fight our own demons. We do. When I was a kid and I was afraid to be an adult, now I'm an adult and I just want to be a kid. And the good news is, I think there's wisdom that comes with age, and it takes us right back to where we started. We live life thinking we need to be something, we need to do big things, we need to accumulate things. And it wasn't until my mom and I got the gift of COVID-19 showing up in our lives, and it took away our finances, our jobs, relationships. We had, tons of people that we were involved with. They all went away. Not the same on Zoom and emails and things, but what it did is it brought this wonder and magic and paying attention to the small things, and the realization of joy can be created and enjoyed just between the two of us and with nature. So I think ultimately it's okay to be a kid. It's okay to play. If I can leave you with one thing from our time together today, it really is to not be so hard on yourself, to know that you're perfect. There's things that, we want to change, right? Yeah, we all have it, right? We'll be better at this, or eat less sugar, or exercise more, whatever they may be. We all have our things. But in the big picture, we're all pretty damn awesome, aren't we? And as we could see by the chat box, we are a gathering of unique souls together. I would give anything for us to be in one room right now, and then for us to go to the church hall or a bar somewhere and just give each other big hugs and tell each other stories and find out how you met those celebrities. And, someday that'll happen. Someday we can travel the world and give everybody big hugs. But until then, this is a very real community. And you are loved and you're cared about. And if you need a little reminder of just how special you are, we are here for you. I've spent many years trying to be perfect, only to realize how to be perfect is to just be me. And if I can tell you that and I can be that, right now at the Sunday gathering, I feel like a little kid with my toys and my best friends. And I hope it makes a difference for you. So forget about what other people say you should do. Don't let them should on you, as they say. And just see life through the eyes of a child, which is our theme for next week, by the way, with a little holiday magic in it as well. But go back to the basics. And please, 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 please love yourself. It's not easy. We have to remind ourselves to do it. But we are wonderful. We got a little brain inside of us that's reminding us of all the negative things. But if you want to take some time to write down all the positive things, I think you'd fall in love with the person that you wrote all those wonderful attributes about. So with that, I am going to conclude this part of my spontaneous address. And yes, I had no idea what I was going to talk about, but I do hope that it's made a difference. So with that, we're going to move on to our demonstration of mediumship. And this is always spontaneous as well. Craig, then Tim are going to be our demonstrating mediums today. And I know that they've got every bit of nerves and fear and all that good stuff all wrapped up as well, because they are human beings. But their commitment to the spirit world, to have their voice heard again, and their commitment to you guys and girls is so big. They have understood grief. They are human beings. They know what a good medium reading can do and make that little bit of a difference to say that, hey, we're still here with you. So while we're here today, each one of them will have an opportunity to work with the spirit world. The spirit world will come knocking at their door. As much as we put requests in, just like you see Craig and Tim and I, on behalf of all of you guys, there's a handful of people from the spirit world that'll come forward on behalf of all of them, saying that we're with you. We keep one foot in your world. We keep an eye on you guys. Our love for you never dies, and we're going to see you again. It's not so easy for them to communicate. So we applaud people that learn to be mediums and do everything they can. Do they get it right all the time? No, but that's part of being human, right? So I'm going to ask everybody to send so much love and gratitude to Tim and Craig and to our friends in the spirit world. How it goes is they'll have an opportunity to give some words about the spirit person that has connected with them. Maybe if they're male or female, or maybe they might feel like it's a mom or a dad or friend. Listen in closely to the information that they give you. If you can recognize all the information that they just described about the spirit person that has connected with them, we want you to press your raise hand button. Now, this is the time to find it on your device, wherever it is, and press it for me if you would, just to see how it works. All right. We get to see a hand that goes up next to your name. We're the only ones that see it, by the way. Thank you very much. And then it now should say lower hand, and you want to press it one more time so your hand goes down. And why this is important is sometimes we might have two or more friends that can take all that information. So our medium will work to get it down so there's just one person with their hand raised. If you have an opportunity to work with one of our mediums today, it's easy. I'm going to press a button on my side. You'll get a pop-up on your screen that says host would like you to unmute, and there'll be a place for you to do that just then. We'd love to hear your voice, but we only want that voice to say yes, no, or I don't know to the information. We want everybody to know that our mediums are really talking and listening to those in the unseen world. So just yes, no, or I don't know. If your loved one doesn't come through today, I want you to pretend that they have, because chances are they're standing right there with you. The spirit people have a sneaky way of giving some evidence and information and messages sometimes that you say, ooh, I could really use a bit of that. So please pull the medium demonstration toward you. Your loved ones are with you. And like I said, those members of the spirit world that come forth are coming forth on behalf of all of them. We will see them again. They are healthy, they are whole, they are well, they are continuing their life. Just, we can't see them, but they can certainly see us. We always like to play an empowering piece of music before we start. And back with our theme of creativity and individuality, this is a song by Pink. And for those of you who have not seen a concert with her, she's a gymnast and often is doing some aerial acts on a trapeze over the entire audience while she is singing. So she's pretty clever and unique. So I'm going to play that song, and then we will be back with Craig and then Tim. And if you want to imagine your loved ones packed in the room around you, do so, because chances are they're right there. Here we go. Always a fun song before our demonstration. Hello, Craig. Welcome back.
Hello. It's been far too long, but thank you very much for allowing me on. I love the music, and it's always a pleasure to be able to work with the spirit world as well. So I'm going to begin here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not exactly sure 100% how this is going to work or what's going to happen, but let's just see what happens anyway as we're here. Okay. Just as I begin to work with the spirit world here, I get the impression here that okay. The actual person I want to speak, I get the impression here that I have grandmother in the spirit world, but I actually want to talk to someone who had I believe it's 4 fried eggs. So someone here has grandmother in the spirit world, but you've had 4 fried eggs this morning. Does someone understand that in the audience?
Wow. Okay. Who can understand that? All right. Atliva has their hand raised. All right.
Adliva, how are you?
Doing well, thanks.
Do you understand all of what I've said?
Yes, I just made
Perfect.
actually 4 eggs for my son.
Perfect. Okay, that works. But you understand grandmother in the spirit world as well?
Yes, yes,
And when I'm talking about grandmother as well, she was very to the point with things as well. She didn't beat around the bush.
yes,
And I
yes,
also know I'm talking about her being an excellent communicator. And I also feel she had a bit of a charm there too as well. Do you understand?
exactly,
And
yes,
your grandmother's charm came from a kind of an affluent background. So I understand she was do you understand where she had a bit of money also?
no money.
Then she must have carried herself in a way, though, that was very elegant, regardless of the situation she was in.
I'll take that, yes,
And that's where I'm talking about that charm and that charisma. But I also get the impression that your grandmother was like a mum to you also.
exactly, yes,
Because I know that's the connection I'm talking about here between yourself and mum, if I may, because you also have similar traits to your grandmother.
yes,
And as I'm speaking here, I actually get the impression that she would have been able to talk quite poshly, or she knew words that other people just couldn't understand.
yes,
Because I know when I'm talking to members of the family, it's like talking to my cousin from earlier, if that makes sense. It just doesn't quite resonate with the family. Does that make sense?
yes, you have to know
And
her.
I know that your grandmother as well, she would often take charge in tough situations at home with the family.
Yes,
And
yes,
sometimes there would be arguments to see with your grandmother and other members of the family, and she would be very quick to jump in and say what needed to be done.
yes,
And I
yes.
get the impression that this was also with your own mum also.
I'm sorry, what was about my mom?
Your grandmother would also have okay, one second now. What I was expressing was your grandmother would be very capable of saying okay. One second here. Do you understand where your mum is currently still here on the earth? Your mum?
Yes, yes,
Okay, perfect. Because I knew I was experiencing something that felt like a bit of a argument or something of that nature as well. So do you understand that?
of course, it's a long life. We have like ups and downs, yes,
But one second here, because I get the impression that your grandmother would be someone that would be very kind and considerate to people, regardless of the situations as well.
yes.
So I know what I'm talking about, either some sort of dispute or argument in the family today.
I don't know that.
Then would you understand where there are situations relating to wanting to move forward in life and not hold on to past grievances?
Yes, yes,
And that's what your grandmother was very good at doing, is letting go. And I actually get the impression here that she liked the fine arts in life as well.
yes.
And these were things such as theatre.
Yes.
And also where I'm talking about theatre, there would have been plays that she would have went to see also.
I'm not sure about that.
If that's not correct, then your mum, your grandmother must have been involved in plays.
I don't know that.
1 second here. But I know there's this fine arts with your grandmother. I know she's attending theater and she's definitely there present. Do you understand that, first of all?
And theater, no.
Okay, so we have to go back on track here. With your grandmother, I know she had an interest in fine arts. I get the impression here that when she was talking and communicating, she spoke with a lot of passion. And I get the experience here that she must have watched people speak, though. So she must have been able to. Oh, 1 second. Leva, would you understand memories of going with your grandmother to theaters or plays as well?
No.
But your grandmother did have a sense of humor.
Yes.
Okay. Where I'm talking about your grandmother being someone to speak up and that and to say things, would you understand where she was a little bit of a comedian at times?
No, professionally.
No, but would you understand where I'm talking about her being able to make people laugh and that
Laugh. Yes.
almost in
Yes.
an audience structure as well? I'm
Yes.
seeing, but this would be something that would be out of character for the way she presented herself to the public.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
the way I get it here is like behind closed doors, she's she's very outspoken and a bit. Do you understand where she could drop a couple of curse words and explicit words?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, because I'm trying to beat around the bush here with that, but um, I know this is your grandmother's way of saying that life wasn't all about presentation and how she looked. It was also about her being present with the family, because I feel that these were memories that were shared amongst all of you as well, together with grandmother, having
Yes.
these sense of laughs. And I'm also aware that she would have, your family, including your grandmother, she would have had everyone over in her home also.
Yes.
And when she had people over, I feel there were things such as dancing going on as well.
Yes.
And I also know that the dancing would have been of a particular, this is a traditional form of dance. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, because I know I'm not going to get it specifically exact to what that dance is, but I do know it's of the culture where you guys have grown up. Does that make sense?
Yes. Exactly.
Okay, perfect. And I also get the impression that at Christmas time as well, there are memories of yourself and grandmother. Do you understand where you two would decorate her tree as well?
Um. We didn't do Christmas in my country, so
Oh, interesting.
but we did the New Year though. We
1
celebrated
second.
the
No, no,
New
no.
Year.
1 second here. Would you understand where there are certain things about your grandmother you're not 100% sure of, Leva?
I'm sorry, what was the again?
What I'm going to say next is that you may have had a Christmas tree recently that you've been putting up. Is that correct?
Oh yes, yes.
Right. Would you understand where there's a red ribbon on that?
Yes.
Would you also understand where there's 1 second now? The impression I'm getting here is that there's some sort of photograph either on the tree or right beside it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Because I know that's what she's showing me there to let you know that she's been present, and because you've also been thinking of your grandmother as well fairly recently.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
know that this is a time when you would normally connect with your grandmother or like that connection as well. And also that your grandmother was someone that you would want on your side, very much to help with. Okay. Your grandmother was of the utmost respect in society as well.
Yes,
And I
exactly.
know that the source of that was her level of truthfulness, authenticity. And I feel she had a level of compassion and love that she gave to everyone that she met.
Yes. Yes.
Because I also know she's clever. I also know she's now giving that love and compassion to you, Leva, and saying thank you very much for the times that you've shared. So I'll say thank you very much, Leva, for working with me, and it's a pleasure to work for you. Okay.
Thank you so much. It was perfect. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Leva. Thank you so much, Craig, and grandmother as well.
You're very welcome. This is rather unusual, but I'll have to give it a go because I've not done this before. I have a gentleman in the spirit world. I know I want to speak about his name being Craig, and I also want to speak about him when he passed, being quite young. Well, young is relative, but I want to say between the years of 21 to 30. And I'm also going to say, I can't say he's good looking or charming, but I will say that Craig in the spirit world, he would have been between the ages of 21 and 30 when he passed to the spirit world, and someone would understand that, please.
Thank you very much. All right, friends, who understands this man in the spirit world named Craig? Press your raise hand button. And it may not be someone who's in your immediate family, so sometimes we have to think out of the box. No hands are up just yet, Craig.
Okay. If I can, I'll say that I'm not 100% sure of the age bracket, but I will say that he was someone that was liked to dress well, better than I am now even. And I would say that this comes from a level of okay. The impression I'm getting here is that he actually was someone that would have dressed well. So I can't say the age bracket of when he passed, but I will say that he dressed quite well. He liked to wear suits, he liked to wear ties, and I also get the impression that his name was Craig. I can't budge further than that. I just know there's someone that would have had a okay. Right. Sandra, does someone here understand Craig in the spirit world? He would have wore suits and dressed quite well.
Oh, thank you. Oh, our Craig just disappeared. Lost the internet, I think. He'll be right back. I'm sure. Does anybody understand that information? Craig in the spirit world. Oh, Tim. Now we don't have Craig with us as spontaneity goes. Tim, do you want to unmute yourself?
And do my own contact, is that
I don't know. This is what spontaneity looks like when it's working, when
That's right.
the medium loses the internet
Okay.
and disappears.
Okay. Well, we'll just jump right in, and when Craig comes
Okay,
back, he can take over again.
perfect.
Okay. That's fantastic, though. It's been great to see him work, though, because I know a number of people in our audience who have seen him through the years, the last few years. That's fantastic. And thanks also to Sandra for this weekend, this gathering, and devising the theme and everything that comes with it.
You're welcome. We work together.
Including a medium who disappears himself.
I know.
Okay. So, um, as I'm blending with the spirit world, I do feel I have a gentleman here, and I do feel he is Dad. And okay, there's Craig back again. I'm just going to stick with this contact if we can, because I know that Dad at Christmas decided to wear pajamas with the feet in them. That was the ones. If this may have only ever happened once, but this is Dad in the spirit world, and there's a specific Christmas in which he was wearing the pajamas with the feet in them.
Thanks so much, Tim. All right, ladies and gentlemen, who understands this information? And Craig is back on the scene, just so everybody knows that he's alive and well. All right. No hands up just yet.
Okay, so then if I could work with that, I know I have Dad in the spirit, and I know we're talking about Christmas time, and I know that we have feet in the pajamas. So I feel the feet in pajamas, that may actually then refer to yes, you as a daughter. So we're looking for a lady. You as a daughter would have worn the little feet. There's a proper word and I can't think of it, but the little feet in the pajamas.
All right. Ladies who are here, you have a memory that you yourself had the pajamas with the feet. at Christmas time. Footy pajamas, someone said. Jeanette has her hand raised.
That's the special word for it. Hi, Jeanette. How are you?
Hi, fine.
Fine. And you have that specific memory at Christmas time, and you would have had the little
Yeah,
feet.
I used to wear them a lot. I forget what they
Okay.
call them.
Yeah, yeah. We have the name up there. Thanks, Jeanette. And I know that Dad was a great observer. He'd be one who would like to watch the family at play.
Yes,
And I feel that there were times in which it feels outside of the house, he would be much more talkative. Inside of the house, that was his time to kind of cool off a bit.
yes.
Um, and I feel there's a lot of joy, and I know you have a sibling as well, correct?
Yeah, I have a few.
Yeah, more okay, yeah, more than one. Because I feel that Dad's watching, and there's a particular. You have an older brother as well.
Yes, I have one left.
More, yeah, yeah, and he's yes, and he's here. And
Yes,
I feel that between Dad and him, that there was a connection that was unique versus his other sons.
yes, he was named after him too.
Okay. Yep. Yep. Yes or no, if you don't mind.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, we're both enthusiastic here. And Dad's enthusiastic to come through as well because I feel as if there's that beyond the name though, too. I know that they have an interest that they shared together. Would you understand that they took part in hockey?
What? Part of what?
In hockey, they would watch hockey.
No.
No, okay. If it's not hockey specifically, that there were sports that the two of them would be watching together.
Yes,
Okay. And I feel that Dad was very enthusiastic, and I feel your brother is very enthusiastic still about that.
yes,
Yeah. Um, and you'd understand that there's a feeling here from your dad that he was quite good at being very personal with each of his children. Each of them had a special place in his heart,
right.
and he knew how each was separate. Rather than lumping the family together, he knew what each person liked.
Yes,
And I feel that he would take time. He had a very busy schedule, and I feel he would take time out to spend as best as he could individually with each of his kids.
yes.
And that would involve taking them to games as well as there'd be memories of him going shopping.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And I feel that with Dad, shopping isn't one of his favorite things to do for his pastime, but he would do it because he knew it would bring joy to the others.
Right.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I also have a sense here that Dad was very respectful in general of people.
Yes.
And I feel that he took, trying to get this a little bit clearer, because I know there's a great deal of respect that came back his way as well.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
he was well liked by a lot of people. Uh,
Yes.
there's a memory, if this makes sense, of a gift for him of shoes, leather shoes.
I don't know.
If it's not that, then I know that it was really important for him to dress really well for his career, for his job.
Not really.
Okay, just trying to place these. Would you understand that? No, Dad's hobby included bowling. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay.
Me, yeah. Him, no.
Okay, there's where we are with that. Okay. Because he's and he's okay. He often liked to talk about each of his kids as well to the other within the family. He would highlight how well someone was doing to the others in the family.
Yes.
But he made sure that he shared that bravo that he was giving equally.
Yes.
And I also want to go back to your brother who's in the you would understand your brother your dad's letting me know that your brother would necessarily be watching the gathering or something along the lines of mediumship. Does
I'm
that
not sure.
okay? Because I'm getting the sense from dad that he does want um to reach out to say hello to your brother. There's that
Okay.
connection there. It's a time that, and specifically, he could use that little bit of support, that little bit of understanding that dad is still there.
Right.
As
Okay.
I say that, he's got a great deal of pride for you because he knows you're on it. He knows that you're aware of the spirit world. He knows that you have heard him speak as well, your dad, after he's passed.
Yes, in my dreams. Is that
Yeah,
wrong?
yeah, that's right. And because he knows that that communication line is going and it's developing. So you must be also considering the mediumship route yourself.
Yeah, wow. I've been taking a course.
Yeah, okay, because that's he wants to from him he's complimenting that. He's saying that pathway is building and building, and congrats for you and bravo. And he wants to highlight his son though, just to say that yeah, so he's here for his son still,
Okay.
whether or not he may be aware of it. Um, Reaching out even to your brother about that, and just even memories of dad and Christmas from dad as well.
Okay.
It would be a wonderful thing. And he's basically, I guess, saying hi and yes, here I am, and
Okay.
happy to see you again. Yeah. So thank you very much, Jeanette.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Tim, you want to do one more and then go back to Craig? Does that work for you guys? Okay.
Okay.
Why don't we do that? Okay. And thank you, Jeanette.
Okay. Okay, as I blend again with the spirit world, I'm feeling I'm lady in the spirit world by the name of Irene. Irene. And I know that our recipient would have had tea with Irene.
All right. Thank you very much. We have Liz with her hand raised. Oh, and Jane. We have two ladies
There's
with their
Liz and Jane. Okay.
and Jane.
Okay. So I do know Our Lady in Spirit is Irene in this case is a friend, a dear friend.
All right. Liz and Jane, can you both still take that Irene is a dear friend? Both hands remain
Remain standing. Okay.
raised.
I also know that she's a riot. She is a hoot. Her sense of humor is over the top and quite loud.
All right. Both ladies can understand that. Ah, we are down to Jane. Liz lowered her hand. Jane, if you could unmute yourself. Hi, Jane.
Hi, Sandra. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Jane. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Yeah, and I've worked with you, I know, but I
Yeah.
don't think we've had Irene come through, correct?
No.
Okay,
Yes,
great. So,
correct.
okay, so if I could work with you, good. We're practicing our yeses and our nos. Perfect. Okay. So now I want to stay with that hoot because I feel that she would laugh at your jokes. She would laugh at her own jokes even louder.
Yes.
Yes. And I feel that this is genuinely funny. Like if this was ever someone that you wanted to have near you, if you're kind of not feeling up to par, she would be the one that was there.
Yes.
Yeah, she's that funny. And I feel that yeah, she's really on about the tea. She must have absolutely adored her tea.
Um,
That's
I'm
good
not
enough
sure,
for
not
no.
sure.
I'm gonna say no, and
Okay.
if that's taking long enough. Then if she's not the lover of tea, then you are the lover of tea.
Yes.
Okay. Because I know along with the tea, um, I feel that she would be very picky about the way that she's very orderly in the way that she drinks and the way that she eats.
100%.
Yeah, because it seems almost as if she sets the biscuits at 11 o'clock, the spoon at 2 o'clock, the sugar and the everything had to be in the perfect spot. Would you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Um, okay. Now, I also feel too that as much as everything had to be particular, that was second nature. What was more important to her was a good conversation.
Yes.
And she would often be the one who would be in charge of the conversations. It's quite a strong character, so it'd be her that would be dominant in the speaking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
But that's absolutely fine because she was a kind lady and she had a talent of passing along information without it being gossip.
Maybe, yeah. Very
Maybe,
kind.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
very kind.
The very kind, yeah, but okay, she was a great source though of all the things that were going on, and she must be a neighbor.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
No, not a
no,
neighbor.
but
Okay.
you are correct. She
She
was a
knew
source.
she knew the friends and what was going on.
Yes, yes.
But there she always she always had a kind word, and it's even if it was getting down to the nitty-gritty, it feels like her last comment would have almost been, but she was a nice lady. She is still a nice lady.
Yes, I think so.
She always had that nice kind edge to her, and it feels
Hmm.
as if too, she went out of her way for yourself.
She did.
And I feel that there's that element of care that she kept. That was almost like a buried secret within her. She had that element of care, but she couldn't keep it under wraps. She cared so much that she would, I feel like she reached out to yourself as well in time of need.
Yes.
She's good about her boundaries, and she doesn't want people, or she didn't have people walk all over her.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But
Yes.
I feel when it came to a close friend and that you are one of those, she would almost drop the boundary. She would, um, I feel that there's gifts of food for you.
Not sure about that.
Okay. Then she hosted you and fed you.
No,
No, okay, because it
no.
it feels as if
Yeah.
she's looking after you in conversation. She's making sure that you're bringing cheer to you, bringing you a healthy mindset.
Yes, she was very uplifting. Yeah.
And I feel though that she had a way of in conversation, even just looking at you though, she knew exactly how you were feeling.
Probably.
Okay. There's a difference here with her. It feels as if to the regular people, she would appear as if she was just cruising through life. She was doing her own thing. But in actual fact, she was quite more caring, more in touch with individuals than that.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think part of that is that she has that bravura, almost like there's a wave of energy or something when she entered the room that preceded her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then once you got into the conversation, then she would actually elevate you to her level of excitement and energy.
Yes.
Yeah. And that in a sense was very healing.
Mm-hmm.
And she definitely had that strength in her as well. Okay. I just hanging on there for a second with her because from her, I feel that she's here for you again. She's here to highlight memories of conversations that you've had together, and that there's admiration for perseverance that you're dealing with at the moment. Would you
Mm-hmm.
understand that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that she recognizes that if she were here, she'd be having the tea with you to talk about it
Yes.
and go over details, and she was great about not about listening, not advising, but bringing it out of you. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, I think so. That's
Yeah.
pretty accurate. Yeah.
And when she's there saying, I'm having tea with you now. So
Oh.
let's have that conversation. Let's work this through and we'll work on this together. But admiration coming from her full
Mm-hmm.
blast for what you've done and what you are working through currently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you, Jane.
Wow. Thank you, Tim.
You're
It's
welcome.
unbelievable because just recently I thought of her and I asked her to come through.
Oh, nice. She heard.
Yeah.
She
Thank
heard.
you,
She's
Tim.
there. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jane. And thank you, Tim. And now, Craig, welcome back. Talk about being spontaneous. Things happen and we deal with it.
Yes, thanks very much. The usual with me anyway, it's just pure chaos sometimes. But it's about making order out of chaos. I think that's what spontaneity really is. And I think that's a saying from my cousin. But anyway, as I begin to work here with the spirit world again, I get the impression of a gentleman coming forward. I know he has quite a sense of humor, because I also want to say that he is someone that would have either dressed, 1 second. I know I have father here, and I know as well, I want to say his name is Nicholas as well. So does someone understand the gentleman in the spirit world with the name of Nicholas that is your father?
Thank you, Craig. No hands have gone up just yet.
Okay, 1 second then. I must have father in the spirit world, but the person who I want to speak to has actually gone to see Santa today.
Gone to see Santa today. Who is that? Seen Santa or St. Nicholas today?
I don't think anyone has Santa as dad.
Nobody has. No. Oh, could be wrong. Gina has her hand raised. Gina, if you could unmute yourself. Hi,
Hello.
Gina. Hello.
Hi,
Hi, Gina. Do you have your father in the spirit world?
I do.
You also understand where you've been to see Santa recently?
No.
That's a no then. Sorry, can't change that. So if anyone else is listening in and they don't
Okay.
understand, what I've said is that father is in the spirit world, and that the person I want to speak to would have been with Saint Nicholas, as in gone to see Santa.
All right. Who understands that? Oh, no hands up. Oh, maybe. I always say that a little too soon. So Jen and Sophia both have their hands up.
Jen and Sophia, okay. As long as it is father, though, that's in the spirit world.
All right, ladies. Father in the spirit world, you both recently been to see St. Nick. They're both unmuted so we can have their voices. Okay.
Yes, yes.
That's
And
Jen.
it's father for Sophia as well?
Sophia, your father as well? Yes.
Okay, right. But where I want okay. But your dad must have a fantastic sense of humor, and I get the impression that he was someone that would have impersonated Santa Claus as well at one point.
Jen, can you understand that?
No.
Sophia?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Thanks, ladies.
Second. But where I'm talking about father, though, he must have been someone that had a great sense of humor. Does that split it? Because where I'm talking about him impersonating people, it's almost like I will take on certain roles and act things out. So father must have had a great sense of humor. I know you've also been to see Santa as well. And if I'm right, actually, when you went to see Santa, it was the North Pole as well. Do you know it had the decorations on the outside of the building where the little, it's like a candy cane, is it, or a pole? Do you understand that?
Now, Sophia, you
No.
put your hand down. Jen, can you understand that?
I can't understand that. My dad had a good sense of humor, but I thought whereas I saw Santa, I live with Santa. My boyfriend plays Santa Claus.
Okay. That's quite humorous as well in a way. And I know I mentioned about fathers there, but would the only thing that would make sense of this is if there are candy canes in the home where you live, or you've had candy canes also.
Oh, my darling. He just got back from the store with like,
Perfect. You
something like-
understand the candy canes?
oh, absolutely.
Okay, right. That's what I'm trying to get at here, because I keep seeing this thing. It's like something else. He reminds me of my cousin anyway, put it that way. Jen, just as I begin working here with your father, I know he has a sense of humor. I know he can go off on tangents as well. And I get the impression that he could talk about just about anything.
Yes.
And where I'm talking about this, it feels like sometimes he wouldn't quite make sense with what he was trying to say. Do you understand?
No.
Then would you understand where at times he was he must have actually had a little bit of a problem with expressing his feelings and his emotions.
Mm, I'm not sure.
The impression I'm getting here is that he would be someone that would take time out. 1 second here, Jen.
Hmm.
If what I'm speaking about here is correct, you understand the candy canes at home and the Saint Nicholas part, or at least you say that that's your husband. I'm getting the impression here, though, he was someone that liked to take on those kind of roles himself. So would you understand where your father would have dressed up as well at times?
No.
1 second here now. Okay. Where I'm talking about your father, though, your father did have a good sense of humor, and he
Yeah.
was able to express himself quite forwardly as well at times.
Yes.
Because I get the impression here, though, at times that he could be a bit confusing with his behaviors.
I don't know.
And where I'm talking about him, though, speaking to people, but you understand where there's some sort of either a speech impediment or something that was interrupting his communication?
Somewhat.
Somewhat.
Mhm.
Where I'm talking about him, though, talking, though, it feels like he would say whatever came to his mind, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But where your father is concerned with expressing himself, oh, Jen, am I right in saying that it's not necessarily himself that's having the trouble expressing himself? That it may be your do you understand where there's situations in the family with yourself at the moment where you're having difficulty expressing emotions?
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like your father is referencing someone that you mentioned earlier, and that it's about confusing. Okay. Your father would just say things straight out and to the point. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because I know what he said is, and he would also curse at times as well.
If he did, it was
Because the
rare.
impression I'm getting is that it was only when he was in that moment where he had to be very to the point and blunt. And I feel like there's an impression here that there's a bit too much going on with that relationships at home. Does that make sense? It's like I'd rather
Yes.
get straight to the point. Okay,
Yes.
fine. But I know that's your father there. I know that's his way of offering advice. And I also get the impression that when it comes to a sense of humor, he was actually quite charming and quite funny as well.
He was.
Because I know where I'm talking about him doing things with candy canes, and I can't describe it here. So I'll say thank you very much for working with me, Jen, and it's been a pleasure to serve you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Craig, thank you so much. And Tim, thank you. And Jen, of course, as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not easy to be a medium and just trust what you're getting is coming from a loved one in the spirit world. So if you wouldn't mind, press that raise hand button as a giant round of applause for Tim and Craig. And I tell you what, you really do get those nerves and you really do trust, because those messages are so valuable. And we can see just how close the spirit world is. And no medium reading is ever quite the same. Everything's different. We do need to be completely spontaneous. If you've never taken a course in mediumship, you'll get to realize that when a spirit person works through you, you actually start having memories that may not belong to you, and you start feeling feelings that you've not felt before. And sometimes you taste something in your mouth or get a scent of things. And so even if you don't wish to become a medium, I always suggest to people, take a course in it. We've got courses coming up in January with our friends Carrie and Phil. So if you want to join us for one of those, we welcome you to do that. And speaking of medium demonstrations, I just wrote it in the chat box. 1/2 hour from now, we will be together with medium Jennifer Brazier, who is the host of a show, brand new show that's coming out called Past But Present. So she's been a longtime friend of ours. She's never done a medium demonstration with us before. She is volunteering her time. If you would like to join us, there's a website, mediummovie.com, or you can go to register. Donation of any kind, any size, will give you entry to the medium demonstration today. And then next week, after the Sunday gathering, you'll also have an invite and be included for our 90-minute medium demonstration with Carrie and Phil. So that's coming up, and we'll end pretty soon. So everybody can just take a quick break before jumping on to our next Zoom room. Also coming up on the 5th of December, there's a workshop with our good friend Scott Milligan that is called Trance in the Altered States. Wonderful opportunity to close your eyes and be led on a journey where you can often feel the love from your own inspirers, guides, and also your loved ones. Teaches us to quiet the mind. Next week on our Sunday gathering, we have our guest Carly, who's going to be doing our address. Tim will be back with Shirley Ann. Carrie and Phil may be in the background, but they'll be getting ready for their medium demonstration. They have been traveling, and so has Darren, so they've taken some much needed time off. But fear not, I will always be in the seat here on the Sunday gathering, but we do often have guest mediums and speakers included. What else can I tell you? I think maybe that's it. WeDon'tDie.com is our home base. For me, I now have over 600 episodes about life after death between Shades of the Afterlife and We Don't Die Radio. I wish I could give you everything I have to let you know that your loved ones are around. Sometimes we need to act as if they are, because they truly, truly are. And it takes sometimes that proactive action to attend a demonstration, listen to a podcast, read a good book, and be reminded of how much they love us. If you haven't taken me up on my offer yet, at WeDon'tDie.com, if you find the audio book of mine on the store page, my book is We Don't Die, A Skeptic's Discovery of Life After Death. Use coupon code FREE and you can read it and listen to it for free. I know many people are suffering with grief in these times, especially going into the holidays, can be very, very tough. So there's some really good tips and tools to help through the grieving process and also to make you feel better. All right. So just a few last thoughts from me, and then I'll pass it over to Tim and then Craig. What I'm really left with today, especially, we didn't lose Craig, but he disappeared for a little while, is that we need to anticipate the unexpected. So be present. When we are in the present moment and when we listen, we can trust that we will say the right thing, do the right thing. It's easy to have regrets about things that happened in the past, but know that your past self in that moment of being present did the best they could do. So take this journey into spontaneity and know that you are never alone, that you've got some wisdom around both your own soul, and sometimes it just takes asking those in the unseen world. And sometimes you just get the right answer that pops up. Be yourself. Remember that sense of play, and you can never go wrong. Tim, over to you.
Thanks, Sandra. And definitely it was spontaneity today as well. But moments like that are ones that can bring you joy, they can bring you great panic, but also solving that problem, jumping in with both feet. If you're in that mindset and it's pushing your comfort zone, that's a good thing. And that's something that allows you to grow. And I can't help but think that's what we're here for. In the best of times, when we're at our optimal, we're growing. In those times that they're quiet, those times that are reflective, times we need to heal, we take those as well. But then look forward to the next little bit of discomfort, because that's going to push you to be spontaneous and to figure out some sort of new way to do something. And over to Craig.
Well, that was random and crazy of a journey, all right. It's definitely unpredictable, I think. And one of the more fascinating things I think about being able to just be present is the ability to relax. And I'm an avid coffee drinker. I like caffeine. And sometimes I notice I just can't be present with people, or I can't be as patient, or as spontaneity would have it, just on the spot thinking, creativity. These are all things I think that come the moment you're relaxed. And the moment you're able to kind of be relaxed is the moment when you say, you know, it's okay to be human too. It's okay to make mistakes. I think a lot of the expectations that I have, especially, come from almost like invisible forces, you know? Like, no one says you have to be a particular way or do it a particular routine or method. And I think that that's probably one thing, hopefully, we prove today with all of the problems and issues that can come up with internet and everything. So, yeah, just being good enough is good, and that's humanness.
Thank you, Craig. Would you lead us into our closing prayer?
Of course, I'd love to. I'd love to. So, to whomever acknowledges God, let us pray together now. I'd like to give thanks for the simple, for the kind, and for the love that emerges from the simple and from the kind. The radiant smile, the chuckles of laughter, the movements of time, and even the cold of winter, reminding us of the joy of warmth and embracing in something new and change. It's those cycles of nature that are within each one of us. And it's in that humanity and that humanness that we accept ourselves for who we truly are and reveal the natural, the normal, the regular is in fact divine itself. Amen.
Thank you so much, Craig. And Tim, thank you so much. It's always my pleasure to be with the two of you. And, you know, we never know what trouble we're going to get into. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us too and letting your hair down and typing in the chat box. I hope it was fun for you as it was for us. And we have an appropriate song going into our closing. It is You Will Never Walk Alone. And just to remember that love, that unseen world that is around you. I know it's hard to believe, but our love never dies. Our loved ones are still around. We will see them again. All right. And we will actually be doing our Sunday gathering, continuing on through the holidays. Next week, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, we'll be together for you. Thank you all. We love you. We'll see many of you in just a few minutes' time. Mwah. Thanks again, Craig and Tim. Go be spontaneous, be yourself, be creative, go have fun, be a child and play. Bye, everyone.